Okay. Hi class, Dr. Mala here again. We had a great first week, I thought. I really enjoyed reading all of your posts at the discussion board about your phenomenon of knowing. I've responded to all of them that were posted. A couple of things about the class in general. Make sure that when you're supposed to post something to the discussion board, that you're posting early enough in the week. And I mentioned this in your instructions for the posts. You've got to post like by Wednesday or Thursday because the whole discussion board will shut down Sunday night. And if you're not posting early enough, and this happened to several of you guys, there's not enough time for your colleagues to review your work and to comment. And part of this class, the way that you're learning is to run ideas back and forth to each other. So some of you guys that posted earlier in the week, there was a really rich conversation and discussion about your phenomenon of interest. Your colleagues were asking you questions, you were responding to your colleagues. That's what I want to see happening. So don't wait until the last minute. You do get points for discussion board participations, like 20% of your grade. So part of that is that you're posting early enough to have meaningful conversations with your colleagues, because that's part of how we're going to learn in this class. So I have commented on all of your phenomena of interest. Some of you have nailed it, done such a really good job of presenting your phenomenon. You have framed it with some of the readings and the articles that we had from last week. And I've given everybody some constructive criticism. A few things for the class to know as a whole. When you're moving forward with your phenomenon of interest, make sure that it's not so broad that you're not going to be able to study it. So because I want you guys to start thinking about your phenomenon and how can you frame that? How can you study that, do like a quality improvement? Because ultimately for your DNP project, some of these things that you're starting to think about now would make excellent DNP projects, but some of them are super broad. For example, Kirsten, yours on pain, great topic, really important topic. But you need to focus it down. Like what about pain? And I think I've given you some comments, so you guys feel free to go back in and look at my comments on all of these threads and posts that will really help you guys as you're moving forward. What really makes me excited is all of the different topics that you guys are going to present. I think this is going to be a really fun class. We've got a couple of you guys who are neonatal nurses. You take care of little babies. I love some of your phenomenons of interest around that. I got a lot of ICU nurses in here, so there's a plethora of things that you can do surrounding ICU. I'm an ex-ICU nurse myself, so I love that. So some of you guys really, Simona is going to look at journaling in the ICU. So here's the thing about Simona's phenomenon of interest is that she is already starting to look at one aspect of the ICU. Everybody knows it's stressful, anxiety filled, and she's looking at this one component of journaling and would that help the patients and families reduce stress. The reason I really like this topic, and Simona, you've done a great job presenting it, and as well as Simona gave excellent feedback to a lot of her colleagues. But what I really like about this, you're going to be able to include some theories to support it as we move along through that. And then this is a great topic to study, because you can easily do a pre-post test. So or compare groups. So you'll have one group in the ICU that doesn't do journaling and another that does, and find out what are their responses. What are they reporting as their anxiety levels? What are they reporting about this? And those are some ways that you can actually test and do some research, because we really need evidence base within nursing to find out, is journaling, would that be a good thing to do in the ICU? Would that reduce stress, or is it just a waste of everybody's time? So I really like that. Teresa is looking at mandated staffing ratios. This is a hot topic. So I think that's a really exciting phenomenon of interest to look at. So kind of, look into some of the literature surrounding that one, because that some people are very heated about, should it be mandated, should it not be mandated? And this is different across state lines too, and different areas of nursing. So like big university hospital structures has a completely different outlook on this than like some of the rural communities. So it's kind of interesting. So we've got people looking at effective communication, family and death, bedside shift report. That's a good topic that Simona is looking at. Simona T. We've got two Simonas. We got a Simona T and a Simona A. The Rachel C is looking at family presence during CPR. That's a really interesting one. It might be a little bit hard to study, because you kind of got to wait for an arrest. But so the number of people you'd be able to study might be small, but really, really interesting topic. So anyways, I love what you guys had posted. I'm keeping notes. I'm keeping track of who posts when and who's commenting on who, because that is part of your grade. So this week, if you go into the content folder into week 2, we're going to further our conversation about patterns of knowing. There is a PowerPoint that's posted there that you can look at. I want you to kind of look at the case study the case study Patterns of Knowing. Just read through that, and what would you do? Like if you were presented with that case, now that we've done some readings on Patterns of Knowing, what would you do? What do you think about that? Kind of ask some, or try to answer some of the questions that are posted there. There's also a thing I want you to read in week 2 content about how to give effective feedback. This is really important as you're becoming a graduate nurse. It's important to do really good peer review. It's not okay to say, yeah, that's a great topic. And some of you are masters at this. I made some comments that some of you guys are really good. Like Rachel C. did a great job at responding to other people's comments, because you want to take into account, what did that person say, how did they frame it, and then and then maybe offer some constructive criticism, like, hey, have you thought about this? Did you look at that? Why are you asking it this way? Those are really good questions to ask, because you need to, one, provide constructive criticism. It's not helpful to say, oh, that, I got nothing out of that. That sucked. That's not helpful for anybody. So if you can kind of frame it, and get somebody to think a certain way, that's really like how we all learn and know and grow together. So kind of read that presentation on how to give effective feedback. And then this week, what I want you to do on the discussion board is you are going to take what you posted last week, use the feedback that I gave you, use the feedback that your colleagues gave you, and now you're going to put that phenomenon of interest in a PowerPoint. You're going to use the audio feature on your PowerPoint, and you just go to insert, and then there's like a little audio file. Record yourself and then post that PowerPoint. It doesn't have to be long, but it's kind of like a little presentation of your phenomenon of interest. So for those of you that have it broad, you really got to narrow it down, and talk about why you're studying it, how you want to look at this, and what patterns of knowing kind of most of you guys did this when you presented it. You talked about different patterns of knowing, ethics, aesthetic, empirical evidence, things like that. You guys did a really good job with that. So impressive work this week. I am sorry about Blackboard. I know Blackboard was down. It was down on my side too, so I could not, there was like a period of several days I could not get to your stuff. I know you couldn't post it, so I'm being pretty lenient this week about being late to post some of these things. Hopefully that won't happen, but we have had some issues with Blackboard, so it might happen. If it does, don't panic. You're not going to get marked down because Blackboard is down. So, okay, so that's it. If you have any questions, text me, email me, call me, whatever you need. I'm here to help you guys And we'll just keep pressing forward. So that's what I would like you to do this week, and I will check it all out on discussion board. So, all right, you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you next week.